Hi guys, Casper MMA here, and today we're back with another UFC predictions video on the channel. Today giving my predictions for UFC 310, Pantoja versus Asakura. Now it's the last pay-per-view of 2024. Looks a pretty decent card. There's some good fights, especially on the main card, and there's a few on the prelims as well, so I'm looking forward to it. But before I get into my predictions, make sure if you enjoy this type of content and you're not already, you go and hit the subscribe button down below. It's free and it's much appreciated. So we've got 14 fights on today's card, and we kick things off with the first fight, which is Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Lucas Brzeski. Now, I think this is a pretty self-explanatory pick here. We'll be going with Kennedy Nzechukwu to get this job done. I mean, he is coming off the first round KO of Chris Barnett. I mean, Chris Barnett looked absolutely shocking in there. I mean, really easy win for Nzechukwu. And I mean, just Brzeski, I don't even know how you say his name, to be honest. Brzeski. God knows, Polish man. He's not had a great time in the UFC, to be honest. He's been totally, he's 1-4, only win coming to Volta Walker. So yeah, pretty easy win this for Nzechukwu, I feel like, and it's going to be a round 1 KO. Now, moving up the card too, Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. Now, should be an easy win this for Chase Hooper. I mean, I don't know, it could go anyway. It is MMA, but this age difference is like insane. 43 years old versus 25. I mean, it's probably one of the largest age gaps in UFC history, probably. I mean, Chase Hooper, he's pretty good. I mean, 6-3 in total in the UFC. He is coming off a win against Borshev, which is pretty good. He is on actually a 3-fight winning streak as well, 2 wins by submission. He looks pretty good, to be fair, and I feel like he's going to get an easy win here against Clay Guida. Probably going to get another submission as well, so I'm going to go Clay Guida to get... No, wait, what am I on about? I'm going to go with Chase Hooper to get the submission win in round number 1. Now, moving up the card too, Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. Now, these two old guys fighting. How old is Chiesa? 37, and Max Griffin, I think, is 39, so both of these guys getting on a bit, probably going to retire soon, I'm guessing, both of these guys. Obviously, Michael Chiesa coming off the win against Tony Ferguson. Rest in peace, Tony. I don't know if he's retired yet or not. No one knows, really. Max Griffin, on the other hand, coming off a split decision win. I mean, but to be fair, he's not had a too bad record recently. He's had a split decision loss to Neil Magny, then lost to Michael Morales, but he's had a few split decision wins as well. So probably not going to be the most entertaining fight. This, you never know, could produce the goods, but I feel like it's just going to be an average fight, and I think Griffin is going to win by decision. Now, moving up the card too. The next prelim, which is Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. Now, Joshua Van, a very exciting prospect, 23 years of age, 11-2. I mean, he did get KO'd by Charles Johnson, which was a great uppercut, but he came back, put on a very great fight with Edgar Chairez on the UFC Noche card, which was really good. And apart from that one loss to Charles Johnson, he's pretty good. I mean, he's 4-1 in the UFC. I like Joshua Van a lot. Cody Durden, on the other hand, he's coming off a win against Matt Schnell in his last fight, but before that, he did get finished twice in a row. He's got a few good wins, Jake Hadley, Charles Johnson, so to be fair, it's not as big of a gap in skill level, really, but I do think Van, the younger guy, is going to get this job done, and I reckon Van wins by decision. Now, moving up the card too. Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. Another fight where they've got two old guys fighting. I mean, Chris Weidman is 40. Eric Anders is got to be getting on a bit as well. He is 37. So yeah, two old men fighting again. But it's a hard one to pick, really. I mean, both of these guys are not very good at the minute. I mean, yeah, both guys not really had many wins recently. I mean, obviously Weidman is coming off a win, but you can't really call that a win. He basically eye-poked the guy to death. So it's a tough one to call, really, this one. I'm not confident on either guy winning, but I am swaying towards Anders with my pick. I mean, he is 16-8 in total, is coming off a win to Jamie Pickett, and then he has had a decision loss to Marc-Andre Barriott before that, and then he had a KO win as well. So I do just think Anders is going to get this job done, you know, and I feel like he's going to win by decision. Now, moving up the card too, Randy Brown versus Brian Battle. Now, I did make my pick on this fight before the weight to miss by Brian Battle, so I did think Brian Battle was going to win this one, because I feel like he's on a pretty good streak at the minute. He obviously just fought on like the Paris card, I think, KO'd Kevin Ducey, and he looked pretty good in that fight. Randy Brown, on the other hand, is coming off a win as well to Zaleski, and then he KO'd Muslim Salikov before that, and his last loss was to Jack Della Maddalena. So both these guys are pretty good in the division, to be fair, in welterweight, but I do think Bryan Battle is going to win this one. I think he was like £4 overweight or something, so he's definitely be like, there should be higher punishments for like missing weight, to be fair, because that's kind of crazy. But the fight is still on, luckily, so we do get to watch him. But yeah, it's tough for Randy Brown because I feel like this would have been a good fight, but Battle's had to kind of ruin it and miss weight. But I still think Battle is going to win, and I reckon he's going to get the job done by decision. Now, moving up the card too. This fight, which should not be on the prelims, to be honest, we have Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. Like, this is like a #1 contender fight, basically, and it is on the prelims, which is crazy. I mean, I guess Dana White does not like Evloev or something, because like his style isn't the greatest, I suppose. But you can't deny him, he's 18-0. I mean, he is pretty good, to be fair. I mean, he had that, he wins over Arnold Allen, Diego Lopez, Danny Ige. I mean, he's beat some good guys, to be fair. Aljamain Sterling, obviously, I think his last fight was on UFC 300. Yeah, he's winning as Calvin Qatar. Obviously, before that, lost to Sean O'Malley, but I still think he's pretty good at his featherweight. I think this is now. So I don't know. It could. I feel like Aljamain could win this one. I mean, there is definitely a possibility because both these guys grapplers and that. So probably comes down to who's better on the feet, which I do think Evloev is better on the feet. But if Aljamain Sterling can control him on the floor, you never know. But I am going to go with the undefeated guy here. I think Evloev is just going to get this job done. He's going to use the Russian power, and I feel like Evloev is going to win by decision. Now, moving up the card too. Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo. Now, this fight was originally going to be Luque versus Nick Diaz, but this is probably a more suitable matchup, to be honest, after Nick Diaz was seen like fucking in like a parking lot somewhere. He's like smoking. I don't know what was happening there. That was weird. He's in like the bushes. But now there's Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo. Luque obviously got KO'd by Buckley in his last fight. That was a weird fight. He kind of just shelled up and like just accepted the like KO. It was weird. But before they beat RDA, then lost to Jeffrey and Bilal Muhammad. So not the best run of fights for Luque. On the other hand, Themba Gorimbo is doing pretty well at the minute. He's on a 4-fight winning streak. Just beat Nico Price. I mean, he obviously hasn't fought the best of opponents, really, but he's still coming with some wins here, and I feel like he's going to win this one as well. I mean, obviously, Luque's getting on a bit. He got KO in his last fight. I feel like Gorimbo's going to come in here, grind away to a victory, and I reckon he's going to get the decision win. Now, moving up the card too. The last prelim, Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. Now, not a bad fight, really. Anthony Smith, obviously coming off a loss to Roman Dolidze, was a shocking performance by him, to be fair. I can't believe I picked him to win that. I just had faith in him after he got the submission win against Vitor Petrino, but Petrino got fraud checked there. Dominic Reyes, on the other hand, finally got a win in his last fight against Justin Jacoby. Great KO, to be fair. Love it. He's back after like his 4-fight losing streak in a row. But I mean, to be fair, he did fight pretty good opponents. And I do think this is a winnable fight for Dominic Reyes. You know, I feel like he's going to come back in here. Anthony Smith is not very good at the minute, let's be real. And I think Dominic Reyes has a very winnable chance here. And I think Reyes is going to get the job done by decision. Now, moving up the card to the main card. Nate Landwehr versus Doo Ho Choi. Now, this is going to be a banger of a fight. I can't wait. I love watching Nate the Train, and Doo Ho Choi also is a great fighter. So, Nate the Train, obviously, is coming off a win against Jamal Emmers. I mean, he looked like he was out of that fight, and then he somehow came back and beat Emmers towards the end of the fight. He's got the dog in him, man. I mean, he lost to Danny Ige, but before that, he's had some great fights. I love Nate the Train. And then Doo Ho Choi, on the other hand, 15-4. Is coming off a KO win against Bill Algeo, drew to Cal Nelson, but before that, lost 3 in a row to Cub Swanson, Jeremy Stevens, and Charles Jourdain, which ain't the best run of fights, really. So, I'm going to go with Nate Landwehr to get this job done. I mean, I feel like this is probably going to be it's either going to be a finish in this fight, or it's just going to be an absolute war. So, I'm going to go with Nate Landwehr to get this job done. And I reckon he gets the KO in round number 2. Now, moving up the card too. Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. How this fight is on the main card is beyond me. I mean, Bryce Mitchell, fair enough, but Kron Gracie on a pay-per-view main card in 2024 is kind of mental. I mean, he's 5-2 overall, coming off of 2 losses in a row. I mean, I mean, if you've watched him fight, it's not great. I mean, obviously he's a submission artist, 5 wins by submission, but Bryce Mitchell on the event, he's finally returned after getting like sent to the shadow realm by Josh Emmett. I mean, fair enough, he's took a year off fighting because that was crazy. Man was like convulsed on the floor, but I do think this is an easy win for Bryce Mitchell. I mean, he can't be losing to Kron Gracie really, so I've got Bryce Mitchell winning this, and I reckon he's going to get the job done by decision. Now, moving up the card to Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov 2. Now, this is a good fight at heavyweight, probably a #1 contender fight really to fight Aspinall, because obviously John Jones is, don't even count him in the like thing. Aspinall's the champion. Whoever wins this is going to fight Aspinall basically for probably for the vacant belt once Jones fucking retires or something. God knows what's happening there. But Ciryl Gane coming off a KO win against Sergey Spivak. Obviously lost to John Jones before that, as did beat Volkov as well by decision last time they fought. But Volkov has been on a pretty good run recently. 4-fight winning streak. Pavlovich is a great win. Obviously he got subbed Tai Tuivasa, which is kind of crazy. Beat Rakhmonov, Rosenstrike. So both of these guys are pretty decent at heavyweight, but I do feel like this is going to go the same way as the first fight. I think Gane is going to win this. I just think he's like just a bit more better than Volkov is, and I just feel like Gane is going to get this job done, and it's going to be another decision win. Now, moving up to the co-main event, Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Garry. Now, this is the fight I'm most waiting for. Don't care about the main event. This is my main event, to be honest. But combined records of 32-0. I think it's like the most combined records in UFC history, which is crazy. Obviously, Shavkat 18 wins, 18 finishes. This man is dangerous. Ian Garry on the other hand, 15-0. But But both these guys have basically fought the same like level of opponents. Really, both fought like Magny and Jeff Neal and stuff. And honestly, this is closer than people are making out. I've seen a lot of people thinking Shavkat's just going to come in here, get another finish under his belt. I don't think that's going to happen, you know. I feel like this is going to go to decision. I don't think it's going to be a finish, to be honest. I mean, if Shavkat can control Garry on the floor, I feel like he could definitely submit him. But I do think Garry is underrated here. I mean, he is undefeated, so you can't put it past him to get a win here. And I'm going to go with the underdog, you know. I'm going to go Garry to get this done. I don't think he's going to finish Shavkat, but I think he's going to give him his first loss, and I think he's going to win by decision. Now, moving up to the main event, Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. Now, Kai Asakura, obviously, his first fight in the UFC. I mean, not many people go straight into the title fight in their first UFC fight, but he's got the chance. I mean, obviously, he's a very good fighter, fighting in Rising. I don't know how you say that. I think it's Japanese promotion, but yeah, there's been a lot of talk about him, and he's finally come to the UFC. And obviously, Alexandre Pantoja is he's an underrated champ. I feel like a lot of people put disrespect, saying he's boring and stuff, but I mean, if you watch any Pantoja fight, you'll realize he is not boring. He's got a great style. I mean, he's always there for a brawl and stuff. I love Pantoja, man, and I feel like he's going to get this win here. I don't think Kai Asakura is going to be able to. I think his best chance is a KO win, but I don't think that's going to happen. Pantoja's never been finished before. I feel like Pantoja is going to get this win, maybe by decision, but I feel like Pantoja could get the submission here, and I think Pantoja is going to get the submission in round number 2. So there we have it, guys. There are my predictions for UFC 310. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of my picks. And that's all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, you leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.